What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kidae, and today we're eating at Lao Pai Niu Mien. Lao Pai Niu Mien is a restaurant that's located in Taipei, Taiwan, and they serve Niu Rou Mien, which is beef noodle soup. So Niu Rou means beef, and Mien means noodles. That's why Niu Rou Mien is the same thing as beef noodle soup. Beef noodle soup is a dish that's made from hand-pulled noodles, tender beef, and a deep, deep broth that's often flavored with soy sauce. It's one of those dishes that if you ever even try once from a good place, you pretty much realize, oh wow, this is something I need in my life. History states that beef noodle soup was started in China in a town called Lanzhou, which was on the Silk Road. And therefore, you had Muslims living in that area called the Hui people. Chinese cuisine in general is very heavily focused on pork. But the Muslims can't eat pork due to halal, so they started eating water buffaloes there. And water buffaloes, their meat is very, very tough. So they had to boil it for hours and hours to tenderize it. And voila, we got beef noodle soup. Then, as Chinese soldiers started settling in Taiwan after World War II, they brought the dish with them to Taiwan, and it evolved into the Taiwanese beef noodle soup. Now, an interesting fact is that in Lanzhou, where the beef noodle soup first started, it was eaten as halal. And many people who followed halal didn't eat soy sauce because soy sauce is fermented and it can have around 1 to 2% alcohol. Very small, but still present. But the Chinese soldiers who then settled in Taiwan after World War II, they weren't Muslim for the most part, so they could eat soy sauce. And so they started adding soy sauce to their beef noodle soup. And thus, you got a stronger, deeper flavored Taiwanese beef noodle soup. Okay, now with that introduction, let's get to the main point of the business and let's visit Lao Pai Niu Rou Mien. And we are in Taiwan. We are right in front of the restaurant to your left, and this is straight in the middle of a Taiwanese market. I don't know what the market is called, but I do know that it looks authentic as fuck, and so I'm very pleased with the looks of this restaurant. The restaurant is called Lao Pai Niu Rou Mien, which kind of translates into Old School Beef Noodle King. And damn, that's a pretty bold name. As I make my way inside the restaurant, I see that it is full of people, and that is a really good sign, always. I mean, this restaurant was hidden in the middle of nowhere, but as soon as I came in, it's already packed full of people enjoying this beef noodle, and I knew that I had come to the right place. And look at these food. I mean, these food are just out in the open, and I saw people just pick out individual foods that they wanted from these, and this lady would just chop it up with great skills and just put it in a dish for people to eat. It's moments like this where I wish I could know exactly what each of these foods are. Unfortunately, I don't, but damn, I'm sure there's some good treasure here. Just look at the way she's chopping up that food. You keep chopping, girl. Okay, so what we're ordering today are beef noodles with tender pieces of tripe, spicy beef noodles, fried dry tofu, and soy sauce boiled eggs. Oh, and we're also getting 10 pieces of dumplings, the real style with the thick skin. The first food to arrive were the fried dry tofu and the soy sauce boiled egg. The soy sauce that tops this whole thing wasn't very strong. It was quite a rather mild soy sauce. Following suit, the main dish of the evening, the beef noodles have arrived. Look at this steaming dish of beef noodles, the tendons and the tripe. Look at this piece of tendon. Oh my god. And next to it, we also got the spicy beef noodles. The spicy beef noodles are generally Sichuan style, meaning that they have some Sichuanese spices mixed into it. At this time, I'd just like to take a moment to appreciate these two dishes of beef noodles. Just how beautiful it looks. The steam, the hot piping steam, with the tender meat and the hand-pulled noodles laying before us, which we flew halfway around the world to enjoy. Okay, the first food that I'm having are the dry fried tofu, slightly glazed on soy sauce, and quite good. Tofu is a rather bland food, right? But when you glaze it in soy sauce like this, it adds just a bit of character, not a bitch, just a little bit of character, and makes it a quite nice little appetizer, you know? It's not overly stimulating your senses. And next, I'm going in for the soup of the beef noodle. The soup looks really deep just by the look of it. Alright. And the taste is just as deep. It's just as deep of a taste that you would expect in an authentic market like this. You could tell that all the meats were put together and boiled for hours. Okay, next I'm going for the spicy beef noodle. You can see that there are more spices in the noodle. And damn. See, this spicy noodle is Sichuanese inspired, but it doesn't actually taste like Sichuanese food, right? You're not getting Sichuanese peppercorn taste, but who's even wanting a true Sichuanese taste in a Taiwanese market? Okay, now I'm having the egg. The egg is just a boiled egg, slightly covered in the soy sauce, and yeah, it's pretty much what I know to be an egg. I'm also getting some of the green onions, you know, just to freshen it up. And that mix is a very local mix. So I'm checking out that taste. I think that it's similar to, you know, when you have like deviled eggs, people put chive on top of it. Quite similar. Okay, Claire, now time to give up that soup. Now immediately, the first thing that I notice is that the noodles are extra thick. Look at the thickness of these noodles. And as I'm trying these, man, the first thing that hits me is that these are al dente, like the epitome of al dente. And I'm also about to have a tripe along with the noodles. I love me that mix between, again, the carbohydrates and the protein. It's just when you have that perfect mix of the noodles and then meat and noodles and meat. Wait, is Claire taking some of my meat? Hold up. Oh, but the meats are something else. I love when you have, you know, like kind of exotic parts of meat inside dishes. And in here, it's the tripe and the tendon. You could tell that it's really soft because they boiled it for a long time. And I'm going in for another sip of the broth. See, the broth here, it is greasy, it is kind of gamey, you know. Is it my favorite broth in the world? It's quite strong for it to be my favorite. But it's nothing short of what I want to experience in this place, right? I'm trying to have exactly what the locals are enjoying. And if this is the taste that the beef noodles are all about, then I am loving it. I'm all for it. Okay, next, we're moving on to the spicy noodles. Get out of the way, you fried tofu, and make way for the guest from Sichuan. Oh, ni hao, Mr. Spicy Beef Noodle. The noodles on both of these I know is top quality. Like, you can only get this level of al dente when it's really hand pulled. Each of the noodles, they just pop in your mouth. Kind of like as if it's, you know, it's got that live tension. And that's because it's hand pulled. Love it. That was one of the greatest pleasures of this dish. It was the hand-pulled noodles. It made all the difference. Oh, and now we have the dumplings. Okay, mandatory appreciation of the steam. Now that the dumplings are here, we're going to prepare the dipping sauce. So I think this is a bit of sesame oil. And then the next sauce is probably going to be either soy sauce. I think it's soy sauce, but it could be black vinegar. I'm not sure. There were no labels. And lastly, some chili oil. This trifecta is the trifecta that is equivalent to the Holy Trinity in Christianity. It's the holy savoriness and the holy saltiness and the holy spice. These three together form the holy union, the essence of the world. Okay, let's try some dumplings now. The dumplings look beautiful. This white dough, dipping it in the sauce, and dumplings from this region, right, that they generally have with the beef noodles, they have quite thick dough. Don't think of it as like a dim sum dumpling, which probably has a thinner dough. This has a thick dough, enough of a bite in it. And the verdict was, It was alright. This one was honestly just alright. I have had better ones, but who's worried about the dumplings when we're here for the beef noodles? So I go back to having some more spicy beef noodles, and I can't emphasize how much I like these noodles. These noodles have that firm texture, and look at that meat. This meat was also very tender. They weren't like fall off the bone tender, but they were very tender, and I know that they had been in that soup boiling for hours. And at this point, it is now finally time to add some suan cai to the sauce. What is suan cai? So this is a type of pickled cabbage that's then fermented, right? A little bit similar to sauerkraut, a bit similar to kimchi in that it's fermented. But it's, it's Taiwanese, it's Chinese, it's Vietnamese, it's this region that uses this suan cai. And it has a nice salty, sour flavor, and it gives that zing. It gives that zing to the beef noodles that just enhances it that extra more, makes it that much more interesting. This was quite a lot of suan cai. I had to give some to Claire. But this is it. This is what you want to add to your soup. Now, I generally like to add it halfway through my soup so that at first I enjoy it in its pure form, and then I can start enjoying it with this flair on it. Okay, let's dig in. I gotta say, I really did enjoy it much more with the suan cai added to it. It just kind of filled that little piece of void that was missing with that sourness and balanced the dish out. Because there was a lot of grease in the soup, that sourness was able to cut through that grease. And I really like this addition. So anybody who goes to Taiwan and has these beef noodle dishes, please add some suan cai to it and enjoy it like this. And I love going back and forth between the spicy beef noodle and then just the plain beef noodle. That back and forth was also a great combination. The tripe and the tendons that are in the original beef noodles, they are just tremendously rich. If you've never had these tendon cartilage parts, they might be a little bit new to you, but they're very good. In Korea, they eat this part as well. It's supposed to be very good for your skin and your joints, and it tastes a bit like very, very soft rubber. That's the closest expression I have. And for the grand finale of this meal, let me show you this huge piece of meat / tendon cartilage that was in this dish. This was the biggest piece of meat that I found on it. It was so big that I knew that there was no way I could fit all of this piece inside my mouth at once. So I had to take a nice bite out of this, and it was so rich. It filled my entire mouth with just flavor, meat flavor, from that spicy beef noodle. I really now understand why this dish is the Taiwanese national comfort food dish. Beef noodles, they have it in America as well, in every major city, so make sure you go to a Taiwanese restaurant or a Chinese restaurant and check them out. These are heaven sent. And the meal came out to be a total of 505 new Taiwan dollars, which is about $16.50 in US dollars. So, I mean, the price of it is a crazy good value, and that's one of the beauties of eating in these local regions of the world. And that was the Taiwanese beef noodle soup that I had in Taipei, in this beautiful market. I mean, look at all of the food that's being prepared. I probably had like 2 of the most symbolic dishes, but they had so many dishes on the list. I can only dream about what other dishes they have here. I have read that they have a sesame sauce beef noodle soup here that's also very popular. So if you come here, make sure to check that one out as well. Seeing how this dish has evolved over time historically, from when it started in Lanzhou with the Muslims that started eating the beef, and now all the way in Taiwan, and it's transitioned into their national dish. It was really a pleasure being able to get to know this dish and enjoy it with you all. Okay, so that was the beef noodle soup experience at Lao Pai Niu Rou Mien. What a true culinary experience that was. In Taipei, at the heart of Taiwan, in a local market, serving up a mean beef noodle soup. I personally like their spicy beef noodle soup a little bit more than their original beef noodle soup, but someday I do want to try their sesame sauce beef noodle soup as well. The restaurant has a 4.1 star rating on Google, but my personal rating is a slightly higher 4.2. The authenticity of this place makes it one of those places where you don't go with the mindset of judging and critiquing. You go humbly to learn what the true taste of an authentic beef noodle soup is in Taiwan. And so for that reason, I thought it was a true honor to be able to experience this Taiwanese beef noodle soup there. I've included the link of the Google Maps to this restaurant in the descriptions below, so if you're ever in that area, you can go check it out for yourself. As for my personal favorite beef noodle places, my favorite Sichuanese style beef noodle soup is actually right here in SF. It's a place in the inner Sunset neighborhood called King of Noodles, and I'll have to do a video of that place soon as well. And my favorite Taiwanese style beef noodle soup is actually at the very unexpected place, which is the Taoyuan International Airport. Right at the airport, it was such an unexpected find. But Claire and I, when we had it, we were left speechless. Visually, it looked similar to other beef noodles I've had, but the taste of the broth was just on a different level. So if you're ever in that airport, even as a layover, make sure to check out the beef noodle soup at the Taoyuan International Airport. Question of the day. Which place is your favorite beef noodle soup place in the entire world? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like and subscribe and hit that alarm button so you get notifications for future videos. And leave me a comment on future restaurants that you want me to check out. And as always, drink a lot of wine and enjoy life. Peace.
Yeah, you better ask about me. Fuck me later. Yeah, 내 이름은 알아 뭐의 기억도 못 하면서 랩 전능하듯 욕하고 족 간에 침에 걸린 놈들 뒤집으러 온 맺히고 인 샷